So up next is Chief Costa. You may recognize him from famous Christmas specials like Rick Seebeck's Pittsburgh Christmas Special. But here today, he is in his capacity as Chief of Operations for the City of Pittsburgh, mostly to talk about the Department of Public Works, which is the one that entrepreneurs are more likely to interact with than Parks and Rec. Chief?
Thank you. Thank you, Henry, for putting this program together, and thank everyone for coming out this evening. And good evening. My role as Chief Operations Officer for the City of Pittsburgh is to oversee the Departments of Public Works, Department of Parks and Recreation, the Pittsburgh Parking Authority, as well as the Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority. I'll start from the bottom. Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority provides water and the sewage for the residents and the businesses throughout the city of Pittsburgh. For the most part, PWSA, we do have other water entities in Pittsburgh. We have the Pennsylvania American Water Company that provides water in the southern part of the city, and then in the far eastern part of the city, we have the Wilkinsburg Penn Joint Water Authority that provides water. But for the most part, if you live in the city of Pittsburgh, have a business in the city of Pittsburgh, PWSA, the Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority, is providing water and sewer services for you in the city of Pittsburgh. Also, the Parking Authority, and the Pittsburgh Parking Authority is responsible for the enforcement of the parking enforcement rules and regulations that we have on on-street meters. That's mostly in your business districts and in the central business district, as well as off-street metered parking lots. The off-street lots are generally throughout the business districts. They also oversee the RPP program throughout the city of Pittsburgh, and they operate several parking facilities and parking garages, one in Shadyside, one in Oakland, and many in the downtown area. So a lot of you will interact with the Pittsburgh Parking Authority throughout your business career. The other one is the Parks and Recreation Department. Parks and Recreation is the fun department, so if you want to go ice skating, you want to sled ride, if you want to go play basketball or use one of our rec centers, that's the place to go. And we also provide senior centers for our seniors throughout the city of Pittsburgh. But the main role, the reason I'm here is for the Department of Public Works. Along with the Department of Public Works today, we have Marcel Newman. Wave Marcel, okay. Marcel, and also Ben Carlise. Ben is a longtime Public Works employee. He can probably answer any question you have about licensing and permits in the Public Works Department because Ben oversees that. And Marcel has been working in various capacities throughout her career with the city of Pittsburgh, and we're glad to have her in Public Works. So feel free to ask Ben and Marcel any questions you may have. What does Public Works do? Well, Public Works is responsible for the street lighting throughout the city of Pittsburgh, every street in the city of Pittsburgh, every park in the city of Pittsburgh, and also they're responsible for issuing permits. If you want to do work in front of your establishment within the city right away, your sidewalk, you need to get a permit for that. If you want to do work on your building, you need to, for scaffolding permit, you need to get your permits through the Public Works Department. If you want to get, if any of you have businesses where you want to have an extension of premises, where you want to be able to vend and have folks in front of your business, you need to get a permit through Pittsburgh Public Works, as well as if you want to have a sidewalk cafe. We are strongly encouraging sidewalk cafes throughout the city of Pittsburgh, but they have the permit to allow the sidewalk cafe. You need to go through the process with the Department of Public Works, and they'll work closely with you to allow you to have that permit. Also, they do legislation. They do legislation from renaming streets, encroachments. When I say encroachment, you may want to add something to in front of your property and permanently install it. You may want a bike rack in front of your property. You'll work with the City of Pittsburgh Public Works. Also, dumpster permits. Anyone that needs to put a dumpster within the street or on a sidewalk needs to get a permit from the Public Works Department. And that's generally, you'll see the big red dumpsters throughout for contractors that dump their debris and so forth. So that's another one. And valet parking permit. Valet parking, Pittsburgh in 2013 enacted a new valet parking. So if you do have a restaurant and you want to have a valet service, parking service in front of your establishment, you'd have to go through the Public Works Department. The Public Works Department in the Bureau of Engineering and Construction, their traffic engineer division will review it and make a recommendation on what size and if they will approve a valet parking space for you. So they work on that. Loading zone permits. If you feel it's necessary that your business needs a loading zone near or in front of your business, they will work with you. But keep in mind, when you do get a loading zone, it's not yours specifically, even though it's in front of your business. You need to share it. Anyone who wants to use that in the surrounding area is entitled to use that loading zone, and they need to follow the time limits, either a 15-minute loading zone or half-hour loading zone. So they do work on that. Other things that they do is machinery right-of-ways. That gets into big projects. And for example, in downtown Pittsburgh, we have some major constructions with new buildings going on, and the streets are closed, and those folks are paying for the access to use those streets while the construction project goes on. So those are called machinery and equipment permits. And another one they do is film permits. Anytime you want to film a movie in the city of Pittsburgh, which we've seen quite a bit of, you have to get a permit through the Department of Public Works, and they work very closely with you. And another big role they have is dealing with special events. Just about every special event in the city of Pittsburgh gets Public Works involved. It may be rental of bleachers or bike rack or showmobile or cleanup services. So just about every special event that a community organization has, a business organization has, a parade or whatever, goes through Public Works. So Public Works is a very good department. They maintain 44,000 streetlights, Ben, 45,000, 1,200 miles of streets. Right now they're dealing with snow removal and ice removal throughout the city of Pittsburgh, and that will be their focus. The next couple of weeks they'll be dealing with potholes, and then they're going to start a massive street resurfacing program. The plan this year is to resurface 50 miles of streets in the city of Pittsburgh. So I want to thank Paul for the funding to pave the 50 miles of streets. And then they'll be working on the parks, and then they'll get the pools ready so we can improve the quality of life throughout the city of Pittsburgh. We do have some major projects coming up with Public Works this year. We'll be closing the Greenfield Bridge later this year, and that's going to be shut down for 18 months. So it's going to be an inconvenience for a lot of folks who need to travel to and from the Greenfield area. But in the end, we're going to have a nice, beautiful bridge. We'll be replacing the West Ohio Street Bridge over on the north side. It's a bridge that's in dire need to be replaced. That bridge will be replaced beginning in 2016. Other bridges will be replacing just about every year. Some of our business districts we're working on is the Garfield Business District, Penn Avenue. We have a major project going on there with the reconstruction of Penn Avenue. It's a 5-block reconstruction project. It's taken a little bit longer than we anticipated, but in the end, it's going to be very, very beautiful. That's phase 1. Once we're done with phase 2, then we'll be getting the phase 2. So you'll be able to see a nice business area from just about Children's Hospital all the way down to Grove Street in the Garfield area. So again, I want to thank you for coming out tonight. And again, these Ben and Marcel can answer all the questions that you have. And feel free to call me. I'm in the mayor's office. I'm easily accessible. You can call the mayor's office and they'll connect you to me, and I'll be more than glad to work with you. Again, thank you for coming out this evening. And Henry, do I introduce you again or no? Henry's doing a great job. So I know his boss is here, Val. So, but anyway, Valerie McDonald, our Chief of Urban Affairs, is here. I don't know if she's going to say a few words, but Valerie and I and all of us work very closely together, and Henry works for Val, and they do an outstanding job. And again, you have folks like Henry. Feel free to call Henry. He's a very, very good gentleman to work with, and everyone here in this room is very good to work with. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Turn.
Yep. Thanks, Chief Costa.